All right. Guess everybody was gonna go live today. As soon as I put my live in, I ain't seen nobody else go live, and then all of a sudden everybody else goes live. It's what it is. But anyway, what is going on, everybody? This is Art coming out with you another Red Pill live on a Tuesday. Back at it again, and gonna pose a question. Now I'm gonna post the link into the chat for people to come on to talk about this subject. And the subject is, what makes a wife to a black man? And I think this is a subject that needs to be talked about, just because that a lot of times in this space, a lot of things get muddled, and black men's grievances, what black men want, are not fully expound upon. You know, there are people that say it, but do we really actually know what do we actually want at our very core level? What definitions have we put towards this topic? Because frankly, there's still a lot of black men that still want wives, they still want girlfriends, or whatever the case may be when it comes to that. But I find it very funny that no one actually asks black men what they want. We always hear the side where, well, what do women want? What do women want out of a relationship? What do women want out of a husband? But you never hear, what does a husband want out of his wife? Now, I know it's kind of a strange topic, especially in this space, especially in the red pill sector, you know. But I think it's good to flesh those things out, because then you can actually understand what type of person you actually are. Because not every wife, or the explanation of what a wife is for a black man. Because what I might want out of my wife, which I'm never going to get married, by the way, but when I was looking for a wife, what I wanted out of a wife was not the same thing. So that's why I want to talk about this subject. Now, and like I said, I don't expect a lot of people to come through, just because there's something going on strange with Google right now, as far as like the sidebar and trying to get into accounts and stuff like that. I really do not understand what's going on. They need to, maybe they'll fix their stuff in the next couple of hours, but it seemed like people were still going live, so that's why I decided to go live today. So, but I guess I could start off with pretty much the things that what I think makes a good wife for a black man. And then I'll open up the chat, open up there so everybody can get on the panel, and then we can go talk from there. Let's say this. One thing that's lacking in most black women, what I see today, is empathy for the significant other. For what I understand is that a lot of black women, for what I've seen, for what I understand, for what I know, don't take in consideration what men want at all, at the very least. Like the vitriol that they spit at us is overwhelming. It's been overwhelming since I was a little kid. They've always had a voice to talk down upon their men, and they've always had to. Well, not say have to. They didn't have to do it, but they chose to do it, I should say. They chose to do this. They chose to do it in open public. As a kid from the 80s, growing up in the 90s and hearing all these talk shows like Ricky Lake, Sally Jesse Raphael, Donahue, all these talk shows, used to hear these women complaining about black men and their inadequacies and stuff like that. But the funny thing is that when it comes to other races who probably have the same problems, if not more than us, you don't hear Mexican women saying the same thing. Maybe amongst their own group, but they're not going to embarrass their men on national television. I've never heard a Mexican woman on national television talk about a black man. Never, as such as a white woman on television talk about their men as a whole, saying they're trash. What I've always heard for the most of my point of my life is black women talking about black men in general and how they're trash. And the one thing I can say as far as what a wife is supposed to do is make sure that you keep in-house business in-house. If you got an issue with me, we could talk about it privately. You don't have to go announce to the whole world what the issue is. And this is just not even going back to my generation. This is going back into to silent generation for the most part. When those silent women were getting on stage in black and white television, they were saying the same thing. So it's just a constant cultural thing to do this to us as men. Really is. And so that is a thing that I would like to see change, is that you keep in-house business in-house. Whatever goes on within this house, you keep it in-house. If you got an issue with me, guess what? You need to have a conversation with me, because I'm supposed to be your other half. You know, the yin and the yang, as it's so put it. What makes an actually a good wife is a person who is actually willing to work alongside me, which is something that these women don't understand as well in today's age. They don't want to work alongside you as a male, as someone they can depend on. They don't. One of the things that my father told me is that it's going to take two people to make a household work, which it does. You have your role as a man and she has her role as a woman. That's just the way it is. Everybody's going to have their role to play. And a lot of reasons why I think marriages have fallen to the point where they're at now is that the simple fact that we don't have a basis about what a relationship is. We don't. What's up, No One? What's going on, AB? Truth, what's going on, sir? Because back in the day, you had a basis, you have a foundation of what a relationship is to both people. This is the reason why a lot of people can just get a wife, pick a woman off the street. She already knew what her job was supposed to be. Just like a man already knew what his job was supposed to be, and so they work together. But now, because that foundation has been eroded because of feminism, now people are running around with like chickens with their heads cut off, not knowing what to do. And because of that, a lot of your women are pretty much lost. They don't know what a wife is. They don't know how to be a wife. All they know how to do is be an individual instead of or independent instead of being dependent. Dependency doesn't mean that you're a slave. Dependency means that I can lean on you when times get rough. And women have not been taught that, which is one of the major crucial points to where women are failing in relationships. You're too independent to be dependent. And if I can't depend on you as my wife to do her job, then no, you cannot be a wife. At least not to me. That is the major issue that's going on in Black relationships. Too many mothers are not teaching those little girls how to be wives, and they're growing up now in their 20s and 25, 30-year-olds. Hell, even sometimes 40-year-olds. They were never taught how to be that. They were never taught what a man is and how you should take care of a man. And I can honestly say that some of the guys never taught about what a woman is and how they need to take care of a woman. What it comes down to is ultimately respecting each other and respecting the roles that you set forth for each other. Like I said, when it comes to women in the past versus women today, there's a clear, stark difference. And I'll give you this little example too. I was over at my aunt's house, and they had just cooked out. I went over there, and then I had to go back to Raleigh because I had to go back to work. Now, I picked up on this when I was sitting there and chatting with the family. Now, my uncle was talking to us, talking his stuff, having a good old time. My aunt, who married my uncle, saw that he did not have a fork when he sat down. She got up, got him a fork and knife, and a napkin for the ribs that he was in, so that way he didn't have to get up and get utensils and stuff like that, right? So she made sure that she served him while he was doing his thing with the family, entertaining people. She's an older woman. She's about to be in her she's about to be in her 70s almost. Yeah, about to be in her 70s. Now, when it comes to my brother's girlfriend, who's around my age, I believe, my brother had to go get up and get his own fork and knife. This all happened at the same time. And I quickly picked up on that. Because my aunt was trained to be service to that man, to make sure that he was good, that it wasn't a bother. But my brother's girlfriend, who's around my age, didn't feel like it was her duty to do that. Now, I know some women are going to say, like, well, I mean, your aunt was married and your brother just has a girlfriend. But guess this is the point that I'm trying to get to people to understand. You don't get to be a wife when you get the ring. You're a wife before you get the ring. Have you ever heard of the phrase, you do the job that you want to get? Meaning this, if you want the job, you will try to understand what the job entails and you'll do the job so that way you can be proficient at it before you get the job. And I think it was Sister Asada was saying the same thing when she was young. What her main thing was that she did was she cooked, she cleaned, she ironed a man's clothes. She made sure she did these quote unquote wifely duties at the beginning of the relationship. But what she did not do was have sex. And she gave that man a time limit. It's like, you come over here, you can get your clothes washed, you can get your clothes ironed, you can get you a warm hot meal and all this other stuff. But you ain't gonna get this for like six or months. At best 6 months. And if you ain't talking about marriage, guess what? You lose all that and me. And she said you can only do this when you're young. Only young women can do this. That's talking about you at least 20 to maybe 20, I'll say 26, 27 maybe. 20 to 26, 27. You can say, listen, we're not having sex, but I'll do this to show you that I'm a good wife because I want to be married. What's up? Your clothes are washed every single day. Your clothes are pressed. You got a hot cooked meal every single day. What's good? And she stood firm on that. And you know what? When I said, you know what? A lot of guys, if they would have gotten that in their 20s, would have been married. You got some of you guys have probably never even been in the manosphere if you would have got that. Because she's letting you know what she is capable of, what she's willing to do for you, what her role is to you. That's what she's saying when she does stuff for you. This is my role to you. See, this is why a lot of guys don't want to get married, because now they understand when women start acting out and stuff like that, that's going to happen throughout your whole entire relationship. All that bullshit that they spit out, that's what's going to happen. That's not a good wife, especially not to a black man. As much stuff we deal with, hell no. Being argumentative all the time, hell no. Constantly throwing, no. We already deal with enough stuff on our job, through the police, through society itself. The home needs to be a place of peace. And if you're not the peace at the home, then why have one with you? Why have one with you? That's my thing. Because, like if I said, for what Sister Sada said, if I met a chick like her, yeah, I would have been married in 6 months. Like, this is a good deal. She's gonna cook, she's gonna clean, she's gonna wash the clothes. I'm gonna be a provider. If I gotta work 2 jobs to make sure I take care of my family, so be it. I know she's gonna teach my daughters right. I know she's gonna teach the children, the son, right. If she has a good head on her shoulders, it all depends on what you want out of that woman. Because like I said, that works for me. It might not work for someone else, but there is still a foundation that needs to be had when it comes to these relationships. That's going to have to be the basis of all. You just build on top of that. Okay, you have this at the base minimum. Cool. What else can you build on that can add more frosting on the cake? You have the cake, you have the foundation, but what's the frosting? That's where it becomes a customization. Women don't even have the damn cake. They don't have a damn cake pan. They don't have the ingredients right now in today's society. They expect you to cook the cake instead of them being the cake. They didn't even want to bake it. That's why when I made that video about the tables, like why women hate the table so much, because they know they don't come with anything. They know they don't come with any traditionalism at all whatsoever. They don't. And they know that. They know they don't cook. They know they don't clean. They know they they act a damn fool. They know what they do. But they try to convince you that you should not have a fucking standard when it comes to this aspect of your life. That's what they choose. That's what they try to tell you. You should not have a standard for a wife, but they should have a standard for a husband. How stupid is that to tell somebody? No, when you're dealing, especially with me, you are going to be held to a standard. You are. You are going to be held to a standard in which I am thoroughly going to make sure that you uphold. You ain't going to wiggle your way out of it at all. You're going to be holding to a standard. What's going on, Dr. T. Son Johnson? I'm honored that you're here, sir. But that is the foundation of that which you have to stand on as a man. Is to keep your standards up and make sure that your partner keeps her standards up. That is in tune with a good leader. Because when she falls her standards, you don't check her when she fails at meeting your standards. Guess what? You set the bar lower. Why did you set the bar low? Because you didn't check the behavior at the point. That's why. And so now it's just like dealing with a child. As sad as it may sound, you're dealing with a child now. Whenever a child does something, they can get away with it. They think they can still get away with it until you have to check them. And then it gets harder and harder the longer and longer you let it linger on. But that's the role of a leader. That's the role of a person that's in management. Basically, you are the manager of your relationship. You have to manage people. You have to manage your kids. You got to manage the woman. You got that. That is the job of a leader. That's if you want to be the leader of your household. Coming from somebody like me, how I was raised, how I was taught, even by my own mother, you damn right I'm the damn leader. I'm the leader of the damn household. All decisions go through me. Not saying that you can't have your own say in the relationship, but when it comes time for the foot to hit the damn ground and say, you know what, this is what's going to happen. This is exactly what's going to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts. You had your little spill. You did your little emotional shit. Now, we're going to get down to brass tacks. Brass tacks. I'll give you another example about my father, my mother. I know I've said this before, but since I probably got a couple new people in here, this will be a good story. My mom and my dad was getting a house, and so my father allowed my mom to pick out everything that she wanted inside the house, because for what I can pick out, what my father was saying is outside the house, the father takes care of. The inside of the house is what the woman takes care of. You know, he allowed her to decorate the house any way she wants to, allowed her to have her sewing machine, stuff like that. Her cloth, because she sews a lot. She used to be a seamstress. She crocheted and all that other stuff. That was her thing. That was her hobby. He said, whatever. The house is yours. Make sure you decorate the house. Make sure it's clean. This, that, and the third. If you can do that, you can do whatever you want. Cool. She wanted her cabinets a certain way, her countertops a certain way. She wanted windows, bathroom a certain way, whatever. Now, when they're building this house, she goes through it, and she goes through the entire house, just like tearing up everything, just saying like, "Oh, this is different. I want it." Da 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 da. This, and just going through everything. I'm talking about the entire house, to the point where the construction crew just quit. They didn't quit, but they just stopped working. Like, listen, we can't deal with her. We can't deal with her. She's going through here almost every single day, telling us this, that, and the third, causing all kinds of trouble. And so my dad took her to the side, sat her down, and told her, look, if you don't shut your mouth and let these men do what they need to do and stop bitching 24/7, 7 days a week, I will say, fuck everything. Give me the rest of the damn money that I have left. We will go live in a 2-bedroom trailer. And he meant that shit. Knowing who my father is, he did not play when it comes to the bullshit. I am not about to deal with this bullshit that you're doing. We would go live in a 2-bedroom trailer in a trailer park instead of getting this damn house. If you keep this damn up, play with me if you want to. Guess what my mother did? She shut up. They finished the house. And she was still happy because she got a house. He managed the situation. He saw that she was being emotional too fast, too quick, too high. She was too high on her emotions, so she had to bring her back down to reality. And that's been a constant battle that other black men have really had with their women, bringing them down to reality. It's not the easiest job to manage a woman's emotions. And this is why I tell guys, if you can't manage her emotions, there's no need for you to marry her. There's no reason to be with her if you can't manage her emotions. If you can't do nothing with her, then leave. But for far too many times, men are not hearing that same question. Men are not hearing that same answer, I should say. Men are not. They're not. Because they don't know what makes a good wife. A good wife will calm her ass down when that man is speaking. They will. I don't know any situation where if a woman's acting erratic and the man tells her to stop doing that shit, and he gives her an ultimatum, gives her a consequence for her actions. If she respects that man's authority enough, and she's not gonna be like, I don't care what you say. And that's another thing too when it comes to being in a marriage. She's going to have to respect you as the man. She's going to have to. That's what makes a good wife. Her respect of your male authority. Because how many times have you heard women say, "Oh, man, need to step up"? Well, guess what? I'm stepping up to be the damn husband right now. Shut the fuck up. Let me handle my damn business. Okay? Shut up. Let me handle my damn business as the fucking leader of this damn household. Guess what? You need to follow too. Follow suit. And if she doesn't do it, then you need to, let yourself know that you chose the wrong person. It is what it is. What's going on, BGS? You chose the wrong person. And that's fine. You chose the wrong person, but guess what? Now you got to rectify your situation. Now it's up to you to get out of that damn situation. And this is coming from a MGTOW monk. But see, that's the thing though. When it comes to me, I'm seeing good relationships. I've seen bad ones. And I can honestly say, like, I guess this comes from me, from my, I guess, my artistic side. I like to sit back and watch and analyze. I really do. I like to sit back and watch people watch and analyze the situation and see what works and what doesn't. And see who people are at their very core, at their very instincts. And so this is why I have a certain aspect about relationships and the dynamic between a man and a woman, because I've had older gentlemen and older women tell me completely different than what a lot of people have grown up with. Black Messiah, he says, "Am I wrong to say that black women having taken control of the narrative and have led black men astray due to the weird value of their opinions?" Um, yes, yes, I will say so. Because this is the thing. They're gaslighting you, saying that you're in control. They want you in control. What they want you to do is be a puppet for them. That's what they want. A lot of black women now want you just to be a puppet. You're because if you ever heard a black woman say, "I'll allow you to lead," or "I let you lead." If it's already understood that I'm a leader, who's letting me lead? Ask yourself that question. If it's already understood that I'm the leader, why are you saying I will let you lead? If I'm letting you do something, that means I have power over you. But I'm just relinquishing the power that I have so that way you can feel better in doing it. But then I could take it back. That's what she's saying. I am just going to allow you to lead this family. But when you get step out of line, if I feel like you're stepping out of line outside the what I think you should, I'm going to hold that leash and yank it. And say, black man, you're going a little bit too far for that. That's what she's doing when she says that. She's yanking that chain on you. She's saying that she's gonna lax that chain on you, so that way you can feel like you're the leader. But she has the ability to pull you back down when you step out of her comfort zone. That's what she's saying with that. So, and therefore, you're not the leader. But she's telling you she is. She's gaslighting you. It's one of the reasons why my ex hated my ass, because when I said I was going somewhere, I didn't give a fuck about what she thought about it. I didn't give a fuck about she objected to it. I'm like, that's cute, but I'm finna go, and I'll holler at you later. And I went about my way, and she knew she couldn't stop my ass. She knew she couldn't stop. She knew she couldn't stop my ass. I go where I want to go. If I feel like I need to go do this, then guess what? I'm going to do that. If I feel like this is what needs to happen, this is what's going to happen. Point blank to the T. This is what's going to happen. So that's what a lot of people need to understand. Also, with this, if you are the leader, then you need to be the leader of the family. That means that woman needs to trust in your abilities. That means that woman should trust in your ability. She should trust in your ability to lead. And if she doesn't, and she shows that with her actions, then guess what you need to do? Kick her ass to the damn curb. That's not the woman for you. That is not a wife to a black man. It's not. And if a woman doesn't follow your leadership, not hers, but your leadership, you're going to have some problems on your hand. But I'm curious to hear what everybody else says. I got some people in here. I didn't think I was going to get too many people because of the Google acting funny right now. I know don't know, T. Son Johnson might want to get on or not, or BGS. I know BGS is usually busy around this time. But anybody else wants to get on and talk about this concept, talk about what makes a wife to a black man, y'all can get on. I'm going to go ahead and drop this link. You guys will identify yourselves if you are new. If I don't know who you are, you will identify yourselves. Let me know who you are, because there are trolls in the space. And if you are liking the conversation, you're driving, just supporting. No, it's all good, Dr. T. Son. It's all good, sir. I know you're a busy man, as such as I, but all right, we got True. What do you know about a wife, True?
Hold on. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Everybody. Oh, okay. Well, what I want to say, if we talking about specifically black men, I'm gonna just say it. It's whatever the black woman allows to be considered a wife.
Why does a black woman, in whatever she allows? What about a black man having agency over his own life?
That would be, that is the ideal situation. But see, black men have a key and critical problem of being indoctrinated into behaviors and behavioral patterns that are counterintuitive to independent and leadership thinking. So basically, we have been taught, if I can say this in layman's terms, we have been taught to go against our own male masculine nature that's been biologically handed down through the human race over 100,000 years. These last 350 years, specifically of specifically
hundred
for Black
thousand years.
ADOS. Huh?
We've been going. We've been dealing with this for 100,000 years.
No. I was just talking about in terms of the 100,000, in terms of the human race in general, just in general random behaviors that have been passed down. But if I was speaking more in terms of Black men, the only problem with our culture is a lot of our original Homo sapien programming got written over the last 350 years, transatlantic slave trade and how things were organized in slavery through Jim Crow, such on, yada, you know the rest, etc. So with that being said, it's almost painful for a Black male to lead in the traditional sense.
No, it's not. You got to make a decision. Are you the leader or you are a follower?
That's what I'm saying. I agree. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. But apparently, due to the sentiment of a lot of our brothers out in the space, especially with this Will Smith situation, you got to acknowledge that with all the support of the Will Smith situation, even with the contrast of all other demographics and all other how you say races or cultures going against actions like that, we still have a community that is able to revel and find some kind of ghetto thuggish kind of justice kind of love sentimentality with violent acts such as that on behalf of the Black woman. So
Then
with,
what?
with
Then what?
that,
And then I'm going to ask you this question:
okay.
What do Black men need to do to be leaders of their family? And I'm not talking about. I'm talking about true leaders. I'm talking about not caring what the woman thinks.
Before you can be able to lead a family, you have to be conscious and understand the reality of the situation of that you have to lead yourself and control all the conscious actions for yourself. And then through doing that, you learn through empathy about why other people consciously do other things. And then when you incorporate other people, like let's say a woman, some kids into the fold, you're able to use that experience and empathy to understand what everyone altruistically needs out of the
It's
family unit.
taught, man. You use it. You're trying to use all these big words to just say something just simple. You are taught to be leaders. I was taught to be a leader by my mother and my father and the people around me. Because when I came to me, even my grandfather, he was the patriarch of my family.
Wasn't really big
Patriarch.
words.
He built his own church and he led his own church. He had his own business, bricklaying.
Trust me,
My father was teaching me about manhood and how to be a fucking leader. My own mother told me that it's when it comes to relationship, it's 60-40. 60 goes to the man. You are the leader of the household. That woman needs to adhere to your rules, just like my mother had to adhere to the rules, and my mother had to have that same mindset when she was I think she was like what? Well, probably she was like maybe 22, maybe when they met. I got still have to talk to my dad about that. But when she met my dad, she said off rip, she knew she had to at least give him 2 kids. She had to at least give that man 2 kids because he didn't have any. Now you got women today saying that if they already got kids in a relationship, they want you just to come in and be stepdaddy and you shouldn't have kids. My kids should be damn kids.
It's a societal breakdown of structure. And another thing that I wanted to mention is before I continue on is with the whole village wife concept that BGS was talking about. It's coming to a point where if you actually compare the descriptions of what the traditional African village wife would be, and if you look at a lot of Kevin Samuels videos and different these little different one-on-one sessions he has with these a lot of our RFBA ADOS women, a lot of their criteria seems to line up with it and be very uniform with the concept village of the village wife, for example. Um, the need of multiple income from
Is that what men want, or is that what women want?
no, we know it's not what men want. It's not what men want,
Okay,
but
I don't care what women want. Do you not? That's what I'm
that's what I'm
saying.
saying. I'm not. It's not about what.
No, what I'm saying is this: If men are tired of that and don't want that, then guess what they need to do?
They need to leave. We not disagreeing. I'm just explaining the phenomenon.
I already know the
In the,
phenomenon. But but
I know you know it, but
the point of this is not to explain the phenomenon, is to ask the question, what makes a wife to a black man?
I mean,
This is about what men want, not explaining all this stuff. I can already know all this stuff. But what do you want out of a man? What do you want out of a wife?
What
That's the
about this,
question.
Art? What
No,
about this?
What do you want out of a wife?
You want me to answer?
The question, yes, that I asked, yes.
Okay, because I was gonna say that'd be a much better question. Because why is it?
That's the name of the show, ain't it? What makes a wife to a black man?
You said what makes a wife? Because there's been a lot of different versions of wife in our history. So there's been a lot of different.
What makes a wife to you, black man?
Okay, someone who's cooperative, someone who just gives me peace at the home, um, someone that I'm able to, confide in, communicate with, someone who is equitable and able to understand financial needs, economic needs, emotional needs, someone who is able to be a listening ear and be understanding and empathetic of the children, empathetic and understanding of me when I'm in a bad mood. You know what I'm saying? As someone who is able to maintain a certain standard, a certain level of responsibility, and how you say determination and vision in the stuff she does, whether it be cleaning around the house or maintaining the job. It's someone who is consistent about taking care of their responsibilities. Um, Someone who is able to be nuanced and not just one dimensional. Like somebody just says something to me, someone be like, fuck you, motherfucker, I'm gonna go get my brother and we're gonna beat your ass and all that shit. I like, you know what I'm saying? I don't really need all that, you know what I'm saying? It's someone who's able to speak and converse with people even when they're not conversing back with you in the most conducive way for conversation. I need someone who is still able to communicate with all realm of people in a more nuanced, in a more calculated way. Because that's doing all that stuff that I'm talking about is so conducive to a household rising and being productive, and people, just people just being content and just being happy. You know what I'm saying? And then once you get all this other relationship shit out the way, once you get all this stuff out the way, or all you got to do left is just enjoy life. That's why men want to be able to just get this out the way very quickly so we can get on to the rest of our lives. Like there's so much more to life than worrying about if I'm able to get this woman to clean the kitchen or do this or do that or suck the dick from the back or whatever it may be. There's so much more beyond that than
Well,
life hyper focused on
well,
trying to get.
this is where I'm trying to get you, because I know you're young, and you probably, I don't know if you even thought about what a wife is to you.
Yeah, but I mean, I know I wouldn't marry any of these.
But the thing is that you need to I'll keep it like this. Do you want to get married? I'll just say that.
I would say a very, 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 very tiny part of me would not enjoy
It's a yes
being
or no
married.
question.
I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, because I feel like to a certain extent, or I can't get married based on the crop of the
Why?
women that are out here because of
No,
how
no,
they
no,
carry.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is, okay. So you want to get married? Yes, I want to get married.
To an extent, yes. But I mean, where I moved at this point was seeing the type of women that's out on the lot for me to prospect. The kind of mental position I'm in now is whereas I'm to the point where if it doesn't happen, it's not gonna bother me because I knew there's not really a whole bunch of realistic options that I can be happy with out here that are realistically out here for me to get.
If you found the perfect girl for you, would you get married to her? Yes or no?
Yes,
So the answer is yes. So you don't need all the extra shit.
Nick.
You see how it was just a yes or no question. This
But
I know you
that's a
never really
specific
thought about it.
That's a specific scenario. No, that you
No,
talking about
no,
the perfect woman. I'm talking about just in general.
No, no,
That's one perfect
no,
woman
no.
is one
I'm
thing.
asking a question. It's a yes or no question. That's
All
the
right,
whole
goddamn
thing.
it, yes,
Okay,
yes.
then. All right, then. Then we can go forward after that. See, this is how I know that you are more emotional driven than anything because you when I ask you a certain question, you automatically know it's a yes or no question. You automatically know that you want to get married, but you want to put caveats to it. That's what women do.
No, it ain't. No, it's not a
Yes,
caveat. What I'm saying,
yes, you are because you're
what I'm
saying like because you had to go through a whole entire story just to get to yes.
goddamn.
I had to drag that out of you.
Do I have to get no? Do I have to get married to realistically? Do I have to get married to one of the harlots that is out here on the lot?
I never said a harlot, now did I?
Okay,
I
because you
just said
all you said was
I just said the desire to be married.
just said married, and then you preface that by saying the perfect woman. If I was in
No,
that situation,
I said if you found a woman, a perfect woman that's good for you, pretty much, would you get married to her? You said yeah, and I had to drag that out of you.
yes, but I wouldn't.
I know I knew for a fact when was like 25 what I wanted, and just like I know now at almost 40 years old, I don't care if I did meet the perfect woman, I wouldn't get married to her. I don't care because I already know what I want.
I mean,
And
it's not. But
at the age of almost 40 years old, I don't care
mhm.
if I did meet a 25-year-old virgin, no kids, no baby. No, I'm not marrying you. No.
Man, I don't get.
I
Look,
don't care how perfect you are or anything like that. I know for myself because I have to do the self realization within myself to understand who I am at this point in my life.
all right, man. Look, when I'm looking out here, I understand who I am at this point in my life, and I understand where I
Do
want to
you?
be, who I want to be with. The only thing I'm trying to say is I'm at the point the kind of woman that I would want to marry is not here, and it is not in high representation on the market to any extent. So what I'm saying is yes, but if we're talking about in terms of probability, the
You're adding things
probability
to it.
is.
You're adding things to it.
I'm just trying to be nuanced, but my bad, brother.
No,
What's your next one?
no. I'm asking. All I asked for a simple question: did you desire to be married? Yeah. Now
I
you
mean,
said yes.
yeah,
Why do you want to be married?
because I'm a kind of person that I've always valued a certain level of stability and structure, and I think the institution of marriage, to a certain extent, is positive in that regard. Is that
What are the characteristics of the woman that you want to be married as a black man? You want her to have
you talking about physical features or like personality?
anything.
Well, physical features. I mean, as long as she's like attractive I mean, I guess I would say an objective standpoint, I wouldn't particularly matter what she looked like. It's more me. It would be more the personality. I just want someone who's more like calm, peaceful. Understanding and empathetic to a fault. To a fault, but I also want somebody who is grounded to a certain extent as well. um and just in terms of how they go about carrying things in the world and just how they go about interacting in the world. I want somebody who's grounded, he's able to keep their ear to the ground, not someone who's all with their head in the clouds and will be confused if something crazy or a critical situation comes along in life and then I feel like I'm on my own. I want somebody that,
You need to
not that I can rely
keep.
on, but somebody that I can support, somebody that I can support and I can feel supported when I need to.
One thing I noticed about you, you like to tell stories or like to be long winded. Just a side note for you, so that way you can maybe reflect on it.
I'm trying to give you in-depth, nuanced answers. If you want yes or no, we could do that too.
No,
You just have to
we're on a live stream. You just need bullet points.
then you get your yes and no. You just have to ask. I didn't know.
No, it's bullet points. I'm just telling you that so that way you can reflect on it.
Damn, man. Look, if you wanted bullet points, you could have just said that. Look, supportive, caring, empathetic, you know, put in on the fucking bill.
So that's your ideal wife. Just put it on the fucking bill.
I said a couple of things before that. I mean, pretty much contribute.
So she's just gonna have to be a companion to you. She's gonna have to work and all that
Uh,
stuff. She's gonna have to
yeah,
like contribute to the household, have to be honest.
yeah, that's fucking life. I mean,
Not
it's
really. A lot of women are dishonest.
well, they can be dishonest, but we live on a planet called Earth, and this is reality. Like, because in reality, there's no invisible maid that's gonna come behind you and clean the shit up. If you don't clean it up, then it's not gonna get clean. If you don't clean your room, it's still gonna be dirty when you go back in there 8 hours later. If you don't mow the lawn, the grass and the weeds are gonna be all outgrown. Nobody's gonna come behind you and mow it. Somebody got to do this
If you
shit.
find a woman that doesn't do that, then if you desire to be married, then what should you do?
I'm gonna drop her off at the same curb I found her, like I'm supposed to. The fuck?
That's what you're supposed to do as a man.
Exactly.
If you find a woman that's not conducive to your whims, that you need to go ahead and leave
To
her
the
ass alone.
street. To the street.
Leave her ass alone.
To the street. With
Because you are supposed to be what?
on my purpose and focused on what I desire, pushing for my best interest, not playing in nobody else's game. You play to your strength.
No, you're supposed to be the leader of the relationship.
Well, yeah, that too. But you talking about in terms of pursuing the woman, or you talking about in the relationship?
No, you're supposed to be the leader of the relationship. You manage, you like we just said, you have to manage the relationship. You got to manage her emotions. Whenever you're dealing with a woman, and if she's feeling a certain type of way, you want to have to manage her emotions.
You said,
Because she's an emotional being. A
I
lot of
know.
guys don't want to do that work, but that is the process of being in a relationship with a woman.
It ain't all bad. I mean, shit. I mean, if you do it good, you might get something out of it. Why not?
No, that's your job.
And it's your job too. But I mean, to a certain extent,
That is your job. If you're dealing with a woman, that is your job.
I ain't disagree with you. I said I know to a certain, yes, it is your job. But I'm saying if you, I'm sure you can get an incentive out of it too if you do a good job at it. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You're supposed to be getting the incentive out of anything just because she's with you.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about incentive beyond the regular shit, the shit that I was talking about before. I'm just talking about, if you talking about
Like
specifically that,
like what? So what do you mean by that?
like for example, for instance, like if she's having a bad day, and you're able to give her a couple words of kindness, show just I suppose show some words of empathy, talk her out of her funk and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? If you're able to be consistent with that, and I suppose you'd have to be the right kind of guy for her. But if you're able to be consistent with that kind of behavior and stuff like that, and you really get her feeling good, I mean, these chicks will do a lot
What
for
incentive are you supposed to get out of that?
whatever you want.
Be specific.
Her cooperation, her submission, for all that emotional effort.
Because you're being
For
vague. I don't need you to be specific when it comes to this.
Okay, so beyond cooperation. Okay, I mean that's. It could be a whole multitude of things. What would you say, Art?
Have my back. That's the
That was vague. That was vague too.
that's the simplest answer to encompass everything you're probably thinking about. Instead of separating everything out, the most simplest answer you can have is just have my back.
Be empathetic.
No, that encompasses have my back.
It's the same.
It encompasses that. Have my back could be sex. Have my back could be everything.
You like being be specific, but I'm like, it depends on what the like. It means shit. You could be in the car. You can't just fuck the bitch right there. You could, but you know what I'm saying. It just
depends on you. But The thing about it is it's like this.
My bad.
When it
Are we good?
when it comes to what black men want, do you actually have you thought about what you want out of a marriage and what you want out of that marriage? Your life is going to look like when you get 60 years old. Because when I did a stream, like a live stream, when it talked about um, what does black male leadership look like, a lot of black men didn't know what black leadership looked like. They didn't
Because they never been in that role before. They just
because they
think,
never been taught to be in that role.
yeah, I'm not disagreeing with
So,
you.
so when it comes to understanding what makes a wife to a black man, you have to look at it from a leadership role. And what your role is being the leader, being that rock to that family. If this is something that you want, I understand it because I was taught this, but a lot of guys have not been taught this. So the reason why I'm doing this is to make sure you guys can understand what their role is if this is something that they want, which is probably not going to be a very popular subject amongst the manosphere, but it's still something that needs to be had.
Yeah, it definitely is because the people I mean, it's crazy. Throughout this series of I guess interrogation style questioning I've been receiving from you. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it has spurred me to actually think about marriage in a kind of different way on the terms of a longer scale because I've actually never actually thought about what I would want like at age 60 because it's like from my perspective, or it's like I'm just trying to make it to the milestone, man. I'm just trying to get to 6-0. Like if I get there, like shit. I mean, I could be living fucking shit in a 1 bedroom studio. If I make it to 60, I mean, that's a milestone in itself. I mean, but if we're talking about in the context of a specific relationship and in a marriage, I'm the kind of person, I really just want peace, cooperation, and nigga, that's it.
You get that with a girlfriend. That's not with a wife.
And okay, with the wife, like I guess
A
duty,
wife,
responsibility.
the concept of a husband and wife is something is more meaningful than just a girlfriend. And I think a lot of people go through these relationships thinking that girlfriends are going to turn themselves into wives, and they're not. You have to find a wife first. She
Because
has
they
to be
broke
she has to be a wife in the beginning, not just a girlfriend.
they broke down the archetype of wife and husband to the point where it's basically at this stage in the game they're basically trying to redefine the definition to basically a glorified boyfriend and girlfriend situation. So it seems that over the past 20 30 on all the way up to 15 years they've been teaching their kids and the males coming up to just work off basic dating rules and regulations, even in terms of marriage and union of that highest caliber. I understand, and I can completely understand why you would hold a marriage and the idea of marriage to such a high esteem. Because I can't even lie, like I went to my great grandparents great anniversary. It was their 50-year anniversary, and a 50-year anniversary. They got married when they were in their 20s back in shit. What was that? The 60s? Shit,
Well,
either have to be the
you
60s,
should take it seriously, and that's the whole problem.
but
A lot of
for the
people,
the problem.
a lot of people don't. Because, but the thing about it is, being married to someone, being someone's wife, being someone's husband is a life changing, altering thing that you will ever do in your fucking life. Because now you're going to have to depend on someone else to help you through life. When you could just depend on yourself and this, that, and the third, but now you have to depend on someone else. That is almost like a blood pack, which you making with another individual that you shouldn't take lightly.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. And that's why I'm not gonna say back in the day. That's why I suppose in the early conception of the idea of marriage, it was structured and instituted in such a fashion that I mean, even two people who weren't even necessarily compatible could still have a successful relationship just based on how how it was structured back in the day, back when the concept was more traditional. Nowadays we have situations and we have celebrities like Jada and Will Smith who advocate and promote concepts such as open marriages, which completely contradict the traditional definition and ideology of what marriage was when it was first instituted. That's the crazy thing.
Open marriage has been around a lot longer than Will and Jada.
I mean, in the style that they carry themselves.
If you read Human Behavior by Robert Greene, he was talking about a wife who chose his husband's concubines and still was married to the man.
True.
She chose his concubines.
But here's another. This is the whole argument. This is the argument I'm trying to make, though. Or is okay. So the concept of open marriages and polygamy has that stuff has been around for a long ass time. But the only difference was with how it was instituted back in the day. If you were polygamous, you just had your multiple wives and things were understood. It wasn't as if you were perceived to a certain extent to be operating under a more traditional framework because you weren't. Nowadays, you can play tippy toe with the line. You can hop over and be traditional. Will should have done this. She should have smacked him because that's his wife. But then you can go hop on the other side and say, "Oh, I was fucking all these niggas because Will can't satisfy me." And it's like they have an open relationship.
The thing about this is, you keep going back to this Will thing. This is how I say, you may not have thought about marriage. What if your wife says she's not satisfied? Are you willing to make that sacrifice of doing letting her have multiple people come through and smash her? Just as long as you don't know about it. Say, I don't care what you do outside this house, just as long as you take care of this house, so take care of me and take care of your damn kids.
You want me to be honest?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Because I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I don't give a fuck. You should learn that about people from our generation. We don't give a fuck. Yeah, we will.
So how long have you thought about American? Since you're the one that said all the traditional stuff. That's what's.
But I didn't say I want to be traditional though.
You're the one that brought up the traditional marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that's what you wanted, but now you're saying you don't.
Not well. I was describing that in context in comparison to Will and Jada.
If you don't give a fuck, right?
Huh?
That's what you said, right? You don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You're gonna be doing the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you under respect issue, keep it under, the usual rules. Don't embarrass me. Don't be having nigga all up in my face.
Are you gonna tell her that at the beginning?
Yes. Yes, because I don't want to have no obvious I've seen the situation. I can't because that nigga look. I ain't gonna have
no. What I'm saying is this: so basically, what you want an open relationship. That's what you're saying. That's your ideal marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why bring tradition in it?
A certain aspect of stability that I was talking about earlier.
You can't have a traditional marriage if you're gonna do stuff like that.
Not traditional. Well, not. True. But here's the okay. Here's my.
See how you think about these certain subjects in its entirety.
You get me to think, but I was gonna say like. Okay, what about the philosophy of women just cheating anyways, even in regular traditional relationships? Like, what about if that's the pretense and if that's the philosophy, if that's what's supposed to be understood, that she's just gonna be fucking people anyways, and you can't really tell her not to do it because she could just do it and you wouldn't know about it type shit. Then
the man or the woman?
Huh?
Who's the leader of the relationship? The man.
You are the man.
You set the standard.
Yeah.
She has to follow it. If she doesn't follow it, you kick it to the curb, right?
Yeah, I mean, but if it
depends on what you want that woman for, right?
I can choose to set it, or not set it,
It depends
depending
on
on
what
if
you want. It depends on what you want that woman for, right?
yes, yes,
So therefore, if you set the standard and she abides by it, no matter what your standard is, then you're getting what you want, correct?
yeah,
While she's following your damn leadership, correct?
yeah. But that's the hard part. That's the hard. That man.
So
These,
if
these
you have
kids,
an open relationship, say, listen, take care of me, take care of my kids. Whatever you do outside of South, I don't care unless you don't come back to me. And you okay, and then you don't let everybody else know. She could do that
yeah,
for damn. She could do that for 60 years up until the day you die. As long as you
yeah,
don't know about it, you cool
yes, yes,
because you're getting what you want out of her because you see some type of value out of her. Correct?
yes, yes,
That
yes,
still fall that
yes,
still falls upon you as your leadership, letting her know what you're willing to stand and what you're really not to. Will
yeah. I
Smith
mean,
is not Will Smith is not the leader of that relationship.
of course, of course. That's the whole point of the shit. It's
But that's the whole point of this whole conversation. Be the leader of the relationship.
true, and we
Don't listen.
understand
Don't
that.
listen to what he has to say. She's irrelevant.
We understand that. We just got to get black men to get out of this attack dog mentality, man. You know what I'm saying? And you seen it over the past week with all these people talking in the media and all these people showing it kind of support. And he said, and a bunch of people talking about, I would do that on the street. But it's funny how when instances like situations like that happen on the street, don't nobody do nothing. It's funny how you just don't do it on the street when it actually happened to you because they know it. I mean, this is ridiculous. They know what would happen if you honestly walked up to somebody and slapped them because I mean they may have said a questionably inflammatory remark. I mean, and that was real questionable at that. I mean, that's charitable to say that was inflammatory, but to a certain extent, but they know what's gonna happen if you slap somebody and you might die. You probably gonna lose your life. But is the programming is so deeply instituted in the black male mental and the black male mind is that you don't even notice it. It's just a part of normal life, just regular. It's just you know what I'm saying. It's so part of them that they're looking at us like we're crazy. They're looking at us like we're outlier and we
The
wrong.
women,
The women and to a certain extent some of the program male, they may not be realizing, they may not realize what they're doing, and I'm not saying it's their fault. But what I'm
then
saying
then
is the
then they're
situation
not
that they just live.
leaders. They're not
Then they're
leaders.
not. And most of the community
But
ain't been
the
programmed
thing,
either.
and this is like I said, this because you keep bringing about Will and Jade. Will and Jade is not the only example of relationships we have in the black community. So
When I say Will and Jada,
you've been talking about Will and Jade this whole conversation, man. What the hell are you talking about?
I mean, I brought her up like 2 times, man. Look, I didn't say that. No,
That's the only relationship you've been talking about, Will and Jada. I
okay,
know
look,
that's the most recent thing everybody's talking about, but this conversation is not about Will and Jada. This is about black men and what kind of wife they makes for them. What is a wife to a black man? Yes, I know Will Smith's a black man, but we're not talking about him. We're talking about people who want to come up on this panel and talk about what's a wife to them.
well, I mean, that's a
And
very
you are,
hard question.
well, that's why you need to think about it. Because you're like what 20, 21 right now. You're still trying to figure out life itself. That's why you're saying the things that you're saying because you haven't really thought about it. You said you had, but you really haven't.
I mean, I thought it maybe not as deeply as you brought it up with this extensive level of questioning, but
Shouldn't you know this? Should you know what you want as a man and as far as a marriage? And just like, oh, I want to be married now. This ain't fucking signing a damn cell phone contract. This is a life altering decision that you have to make within your life. This is probably more important. You being married to the right person is probably more important than you getting a house. I would damn sure say it's more important than that.
yeah, because you could lose it getting married to the wrong one.
Because I've seen homeless people on the street with their wives, still there by his side. So making sure you having the right damn partner in your damn life that's going to follow your leadership is more damn important than that. and having and getting a damn house is way important.
Yeah, you need property, especially in a capitalistic society like this where everything is moved with value, debt, and credit. You need something that's appreciating assets all day.
Black Messiah, what's good?
What's up, bro?
What's
What's
good,
going on?
Black Messiah?
All right. Am I coming through well?
Yes, you go.
All right.
What you got to say on the subject?
Now, really, just wanted to jump into the conversation, but I kind of lost track of where we at and what exactly is the topic.
Well, we just started from the brass point. What makes a wife to you as a black man?
I put in the chat earlier about, kind of supporting my vision, what I'm saying, respecting my decision and raising my children. And to me, that sums up everything when you're really talking about a wife versus a girlfriend. If you're not really looking for that, I feel like you should just stick to a girlfriend. What's really the reason of legally bonding or binding yourself to a woman? You know what I'm saying? If you have no need for her other than, the very same things you would get from a girlfriend or an average female you just met at the club.
True,
Like,
which
what's
is
the
why
reason or the
which
legal
moves into
reason?
logic.
Hold on, Truth. You spent the whole hour in here just talking. Let someone else talk.
It's all good. Basically, the question I was just saying is, what is the purpose of legally tying and binding yourself to a woman if, you know what I'm saying, you don't have a purpose for that union, a purpose for joining yourself to her outside of the very same things that you would get out of any female that you messed with? Sex and, submission or, cooking and cleaning. Like, why legally bind myself to a woman for that? Every woman I get with does those things for me. When I marry a woman, I'm asking a woman to basically, in some shape or form, give up control over her own life and support me and me doing what I'm doing for us.
Mm-hmm.
But my bigger issue is like with the manosphere. It's like, why is there such a stress and focus on women, but you don't see an equal or even a greater stress or significance on the accomplishments, the achievements, building things that men need to be doing in their own space, regardless of women? Because a lot of the issues that we have with women, as far as not being submissive and obedient and talking and all that stuff, a lot of that stuff would immediately go away if we just ignored the women and went over and handled our business. If black men just left the society, went out somewhere, bought us some land, started building like a Black Wall Street, you know what I'm saying? Just hypothetically, just started building our
That
own
doesn't
economy.
happen. That's not going to happen.
Just started building our own
But
economy.
we done already had this conversation.
Hold on,
brother.
True. I'm gonna say this, Black Messiah. We tried that and it failed.
We never tried that. I'm 40
Yes,
years
we
old.
have.
When did we try that? Where? Give me the example of where we tried that. And how many times have people started a business and it failed? Do you quit? Or do you go back to the drawing board?
If you making a statement, or you want me to answer the question?
I'm listening, sir.
We tried that in Oklahoma. That failed. We had multiple stories of other black enclaves that also failed because they poisoned the water system. You're not going to actually start a economic system within this country that's different than what you already have. You're still a part of this country,
right?
Whether we like it or not.
We're open minds. Just being correct, because I'm scientific based. I'm not really pessimistic, because I know just on the field that I'm in, which I've been in for the last 10 years, there's absolutely no problem that a solution cannot be derived for. When somebody says, we tried that, can you just off the top of the head, can you give me an estimate on how many years ago Black Wall Street was?
How many years ago? It doesn't matter. It was burnt down.
It does matter. It does matter.
No, because I'm going to tell you this, Black Messiah. There's not a piece of land on this God's green earth that you're not going to exchange American dollars for, and it's going to be up to that county, up to that state to allow you to get that.
So tell me this: why we as men say we can't do nothing other than what white men allow us to, but other men can go out there and build whole currencies like cryptocurrency? Why you as a black man create your own
cryptocurrency?
is a creation by men that is overriding the white man's money. So why
No, it's
you as a
not.
black man
No, it's
can't
not.
create your own currency and override it
It's a
and have your
speculative. It's
own
a
leaders?
speculative. It's a speculative bubble, just like the .com bubble. It could pop too, given
Who
enough credit.
cares if
It's
it
not an
pops?
economy. It's
If it
barely a market, dude.
Truth,
look,
It's
calm
a
down.
money pool.
Truth,
put it
calm down.
put it
Truth,
like
calm
this.
down.
Put it like this. Do you not go into business because prior people who have gone into that same business have failed?
What?
No. Because you know what? Because this is going to get this is getting to the weeds than what this conversation was everything about.
I don't see how.
Yes, it
I
is.
think it's getting to the real shit because
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're not talking about a wife. No, are you?
No,
You're talking about we're talking about economic. We're talking about economics. We're not talking about what makes a wife to a black man.
Say what?
That's the whole conversation. If you want to go down that way, then I could open up a live panel. I could hold on.
I get you.
I could open up a live panel after this one, and we could go down to economics and why that shit ain't gonna work. But until then, we're talking about what makes a wife to a black man.
Right. And what
I'm not getting into that damn weed.
what I'm telling you is what makes a wife to a black man is a support for a black man's vision. So when we're talking about wife, how are you even fit to be a husband if you ain't got no vision, no plan, and everything that needs to be done for your people? We can't do that because it didn't work. We can't do that because it failed 400 years ago. We can't do that because the white man owned
Listen,
everything.
if you gonna keep going out, if you gonna keep
no.
And this is why I don't let people up.
Damn.
No. Listen, if y'all gonna come up here, you're gonna keep on the topic. I'm not going into the weeds. Y'all want to go into the weeds somewhere else? Then we can go open up the panel, but on something else. But other than that, we're talking about the subject at hand. I am part of the manosphere, whether you guys know it or not. So I'm pro manosphere. Okay. So if you want to talk about anti-manosphere shit, this is not the place for you.
Oh, one of them came up here just to deflect and distract. All right. Shall be. Back to the bucket.
Now, those that want to come up here and talk about the subject at hand, y'all can come up here and talk about the subject at hand. I'm not going to talk about this building emerald cities in the vast majority in the desert of North America. We're not talking about that because that's not going to fucking work. You want to talk about that? You got a YouTube channel. You could talk about that somewhere else. But we're talking about this.
But yeah, black women, you know what I'm saying? Just, I mean, pretty much the opposite of what they practice. Pretty much, for the most regard. I mean, a certain level of class, you know what I'm saying, out in the environment, social awareness, thinking about it, just general awareness, um, dexterity for compassion, the ability to be compassionate, um, the ability to contribute, the ability to maintain a certain standard for yourself physically and mentally. Not just talking about the stuff in the scale, also talking about the stuff in your head. The ability to be fully interdependent in a relationship, and the ability to display respect for the concepts of relationships and marriages accordingly.
Well,
You
like
still
I said,
there?
yeah, I'm still here. I just get tired of people coming out here and want to spout anti-manosphere or this whole
We need to do this.
This Hotep Jesus shit. Like
I've
read the damn current, been reading the current commission for the past 2.5-3 months with damn BGS. I read all this damn shit about what black people have done in the past, and they try to start their own shit, and the shit got failed. It's not gonna fucking work. And as black people, this is the fucked up thing, because now I'm fucking pissed about this shit. The shit's not gonna fucking work because you ain't got time for it. You got fucking robots delivering food in fucking Denny's as we speak right now. You got AI starting to drive damn fucking cars. What do you think that's gonna do to your fucking economy, to your damn state? You got fucking high ass gas prices. Your supply chains is all fucked up. We don't
Delayed.
own any damn shipping yards or anything like that.
Nobody.
You talking about you want to build something in the middle of fucking America and shit.
In the middle of a
I
recession.
would rather have black men making damn 40 or 45,000 the minimum amount of money as they possibly can. At least get a fucking work. At least have something. They're talking about like we need to build fucking
Fucking Wakanda in the middle of America and shit. In the middle of the goddamn hornet nest. The South is at the bottom of the damn country and they still lost. But your dumb ass
but
would have put
that has
HQ.
nothing to do with this fucking conversation whatsoever.
It does not.
It's about what black men what they want out of their damn women as far as a wife. That's the conversation. Anything else is just sidebar.
Pretty much. But yeah, like I said, you know what I'm saying, the ability to be interdependent, you know, empathy, general consideration, respect for the relationship and respect for the man beyond his economic value. General supportive nature. Not a whole lot of unnecessary arguing, and not a whole lot of arguments and being.
I would tell you the truth that you, just a side note with you, you're 20 years old. This is something that you got to think about, and then when you hit 25, then that's when I would say you will have a better understanding about what a wife is to you.
Oh, okay.
Because you're still young. You just spitballing at the moment right now. You haven't really thought about it. I could tell. Because your mind's just everywhere. And that's fine. That's okay. I would suggest for you, what you need to do is ask your elders that are married. Ask people who are married, their situations. View people that are married, what they're going through. Ask them what a wife is, what a husband is, and all that other stuff. And then once you get that knowledge, you start getting a better understanding about who you are as a man, as a person, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate. Then I would say, once you acquire all that knowledge, then you can have a better understanding about who you are as a husband. Who are you? If this is something that you want, not saying it is. Not everybody wants to be a husband. Not everybody wants to be a wife. But if this is what you want, then you can understand the type of woman that you need to facilitate what you want out of your life, out of your kids that you have with her, anything like that.
Yeah, definitely got a question.
That's ultimately what you need to do, because you're still like I said, you're 20. You still got a lot of raging hormones. So
I mean, what would you say? Give me an example, because I know we from different generations. You from the elder millennial generation, so I mean, you came up in a different era when R&B music was still popping and "Girl Around the Way" was a thing. Like, tell me what was your early fantasizations and imaginations about marriage in comparison to now? Like, how did your perspective shift?
Two people work together. My mom and my dad were my biggest inspirations about what a marriage should be. Now, there was, like I said, there were some things that were probably bad about it, but at the same time, it was just like this: a man has to work, so does a woman. It takes two people to make it work. It's gonna take for that, and the man is gonna be the head of the household. What he says goes. If he says something, this needs to happen, then it needs to happen. From what my understanding is, from what my conversations were with my parents, my father wanted a woman that was a Christian woman that was going to teach their children Christian values, and was going to raise the children correctly with his help. and that's what he wanted, and he found that with my mother. My mother wanted a man that comes from a good background, good Christian background, which my father was. He was the son of a pastor. He knew the
Mm,
Bible, stuff like that. And so she, and she was wanted someone to help raise some kids with. And like I said, she knew dealing with my father when he had no children. Because she said this out of her own mouth to me. I had to at least give him two kids because he didn't have any. So if I was going to be with him, I had to give him two kids. So she already knew that there was an obligation to that man if she was going to be with him.
okay, then that's very interesting that you said that, and I thank you very much for sharing your perspective and what shapes your ideology on marriage based on your early life. Now, let me ask you this question. Let's say your parents were born in my generation. Would you say the probability of your mother saying the same things about how she needs to institute this level of responsibility for her man and give him kids, do you think she would have the same sentiments if she was born of my generation, or let's say
It
of
depends
the
on how
later,
she's raised. It depends on how the person is raised.
based off the average? So let's just say whatever the average is, whatever how the average person is raised, the average modern woman, the average, not depending on any specific specification. What depending on the general baseline, because there's going to be a whole bunch of overlap with how people are raised just by living in a similar country, similar values, yada yada, etc. So based off the average standard, would you think she would say the same sentiment?
As far as a black woman or all women,
Shit, black women, then all women.
black women probably not that high. All women, you can have your pick. You can get it Latina because I think Latinas are probably more traditional than probably any other race. In
Hmm.
my personal opinion, I think if black men really want traditional wives and stuff like that, I think they probably need to go Latina. If you want a black woman, then you got to adhere to you got to figure out a new standard, and that's going to be hard because there's no baseline of what each person needs to do. There's no, I guess you could say, gender roles between two people,
Oh, but
and
no,
so now you got to figure it out.
yeah, because I would say even beyond having no baseline, it's more more like a situation of baseline being very restricted. Like the concept of baseline is restricted, it's outlawed strictly in our community, in terms of the female demographic. What you saying? Those sentiments. And, well, that's very interesting. You said that about Latinos. Okay. Um. So what would you say has caused this shit? Since we now have acknowledged that back in your mother and your father's generation, what would that be? The boomer generation? That's silent or baby? What would that be?
Feminism,
Oh, okay, 70.
feminism
Okay,
started all this.
okay, feminism. Okay, so would you say all the way early back as the general suffrage movements, just in general, with the wave of the '60s and stuff like that, and then even all the way back with the passing of the voting amendments and stuff like that for just women rights early on, just started this level of volatile advocacy, or would you say it's solely isolated to the '70s when the whole free flowing fluid movement really kicked in?
Title IX.
Title IX. Okay.
That's the beginning of the downfall because and then after that they got put into after 68 with because after like we just said after the Kerner Commission when they started putting in that they were a minority, then guess what? Then they were able to get inside the society and start changing it. You got a lot of white women that are against the stuff that's going on now that were going into college within the 80s and 70s, and they're talking out now about they didn't envision this as the what they want America to look like.
The outcome, because if you're talking about the first waves, of course, you're talking about the prototype proto feminists, as I have tend to label them, the first wave, before the second wave, and before black women were incorporated in high numbers with the.
Hold on. I gotta do some house cleaning.
Okay, but well, yeah, I mean that's it. And it's very interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because if you honestly you go back and look at these accounts of the first wave feminists, and in comparison to them looking at the state of the reality now, it's much like you said, because the first wave of feminists actually were looking towards a truly equitable, more equal society where women would actually take on and be put into these positions of traditional men, of these higher STEM fields, and these more diverse avenues of employment just for women in general. And they were going to take on the role of the breadwinner with the full responsibilities that men have been carrying and shouldering for, I don't know, fucking a few thousand years, 100,000 years, since forever, since the beginning of human civilization. We've been shouldering this, but that was the initial plan. And then, but it seems that 30 years later, we have derailed to a point where we do have women that have
Is this
the
about black man and white?
yeah, I'm talking about.
No, it's not. No, it's not. We're going off something else. Come on, man.
I was talking about the feminist thing you was just talking about. I was talking about
This,
the first place.
is that anything to do with the subject?
I was talking about.
I don't understand why you guys come on panels and y'all go off of the subject.
I was relating this
because you know
to black
that really pisses me off. You know that, right?
Okay. Okay. Well, beyond that, what beyond that, if we're getting back to the framework of what black men want out of black women, what would you say your father desired out of his wife?
I thought I just said it. Yeah, I guess you wasn't paying attention.
Could you restate it more specifically? Because you didn't really like
What did
specify.
I say? What did I say?
Okay, so you basically stated a woman that needed to work and be responsible for the house and listen to her man in such in
That's
such a
not what I
form.
said about my father. Now was it?
Could you specifically state what you said about your father then? Could you restate what you said about your father?
He wanted a Christian wife.
A Christian wife. What framework? What system? If we're talking about
What is
traditionalism,
a Christian wife?
traditionalist, more conservative.
He
But if
also
we're
wanted
talking,
he also wanted a wife that's going to raise his kids within a Christian Baptist, pretty much Baptist household because he was a son of a pastor. So that's what he wanted his wife to raise the children as. That's what he wanted as the leader of this household. He wanted his kids to grow up in a Christian household because that's how he grew up, and he wanted to pass down that to his children, his legacy.
was that prototypical? Was that typical of black men of his generation, of his era, or would you say that was isolated specifically to your father based on him being born as a pastor's son from a pastor?
That's what he wanted.
Okay. What do you think? What would you say would be what was the average consensus on what the average black man wanted from that generation, if you know?
Their kids to be better than they were.
I was talking about in terms of their
Their kids to be better than they were. That was the most thing. They want their kids to be educated. They want their kids to be better than them. They didn't want their kids to suffer like they did. Because you got to understand the baby boomers that were had us around the time when I was born. Had to deal with had to deal with a little bit of Jim Crow and a little bit of the damn '60s and all that stuff that was going on back in the day, and still had to deal with that through the '70s and '80s. Like I was saying, I did not know that they were still doing school bus boycotts about black kids going to certain schools up until 1985. The bus boycotts of busing black kids into white neighborhoods was still being boycotted against up until 1985. I did not know that until just like what I think a year and a half ago.
What, doing the research on the reports, the Colonel report and the light?
No, it was a news article, a news broadcast by Hezekiah Walker News Network that he posted up that I shared with BGS and some other people.
Oh, okay. What was the area? Was it in the south? Was it like a southern?
It was still happening all over.
Okay, just all over.
They didn't stop until 85.
I guess that makes sense. There's always been there's the Great Migration, and now we see with gentrification and stuff like that. But that's not the point.
What's the other question?
Okay, well, the other question would be, what was the average? What did the average black man want out of a white? Was what I was more specifically asking. I understand what he wanted for his children, but what did he want from his wife? Because you told me what your father wanted from his wife based off his background, which makes a lot of sense. But I mean, if you have any knowledge on what the typical black man of 60s and 70s era generation, what did he desire?
A woman that can cook, a woman that can take care of the house, can raise kids. I mean, have you not? This is how I said. I said you need to take more time to talk, because obviously, if you would have asked some more of your elders, you would have know what they want. Like, if you were interested.
I mean, not a lot of my elders are married, so I was like,
neither am I. But you're asking me, right?
Yeah, that's.
I'm pretty much almost your elder.
You are my elder.
Yeah.
That's.
See the connection?
Yeah.
You can still ask them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know some older folks that are still married.
A few. I mean, the ones that you gotta remember, these people, people be dropping like stones, but the ones that are still here, I mean, just here and there, maybe like 2 couples, maybe. But a lot of people, my family have divorces,
You still know what people want, man, because you can ask them. I've asked my uncles all the time. They ask me. We have conversations with each other. The problem is that what I'm seeing is that you guys are not asking the questions. You just expect the people to tell you.
We didn't know. From our perspective,
if you want to know, then you should ask. There are plenty of black men that you know about that that you could talk to that are probably married. Guarantee that you can just think of one that is married right now. You just ask them, what did you want out of your wife? Isn't there? You trying to say there's no black man that you know that's not married right now?
I didn't say no. I just said it's very few.
Have you ever asked them?
Yeah, I've asked them, but
what did they say?
There's pretty much uniformly, pretty much give or take what you said out of their woman's ability to cook, usual shit. But it's a different. I also recognize that it is a different era and it's a different dating market as well. So
black men still want the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's the women.
We got a monkey wrench in it. You know what I'm saying? We kind of got a monkey wrench in it with the whole.
But the thing is that the thing that hurts us the most of the time is that we have allowed women to wiggle.
Yeah,
and give them more room.
Yeah, that's killing us too. Yeah, because now it just looks like we get punked. Like it's kind of.
That's the way you've been raised. You've been raised to be punked. You've been raised to give women more wiggle room. Back in the day when my dad was working, it was like there was no wiggle room. Like, listen, this is what's going to happen, whether you like it or not. Now it's like, well, baby, what do you think? I don't care what you think. This is what's going to happen. When I was with my ex, she was mad all the time. I didn't give a fuck.
I mean, you know what it is? It's the culture reinstituting and playing into our old trainings and old habits and stuff like that. With the more broader culture, you know what I'm saying? With the feminist movement coming in, like you just see a symphony, like a almost not like a reckoning, but like a symphony, like just a shredding, like spreading throughout the airwaves and just the every man that's coming up and is young. I mean, from the school ground to the teachers to work to the court. I mean, to anywhere you could possibly go, the movie theater, anywhere you could possibly go. I mean, you have to deal with these politics. So it's almost like a second training to a certain extent, Art, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I said. You need to have those conversations with your elders, the people that are married, and like I said, black men need to start making it their line in the sand. If this whatever wife that you want, you need to understand yourself as the man that you want to be, and also understand the wife that you want, and then you have to let the women know that's in your life that listen, this is the standard that I just set. This is the standard that I want. And until you can meet this standard, you are not going to be the wife. Point blank, period. I don't care how much you cry. I don't care how much you yell or anything like that. Unless you're able to meet this standard, you can't be a wife. And that's what black men need to do.
That's why spaces like this are so important, man. With the information that's being given, like you don't have other spaces, other places on the internet and on the interwaves like the Black Manosphere. You just don't. There's nothing really organized quite like the Black Manosphere.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said, it is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this since nobody else is gonna come up except for that guy. But I will be doing a live after this in about 10 minutes, and we're gonna talk about how come Wakanda does not work. So Black Messiah, if you want to get on for that, you can after that. And we can have a conversation about why Wakanda does not work.
I feel like you've done this like 4 times already.
It's an argument that never goes old. Man. It's a thing that never goes old. But like I said, I read the books. I read what we did, and it didn't work. And we're in a different damn mind state, but people want to still reinvent the wheel. So whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Thank you everybody that came through. Period. I will be back in 5 minutes to do the Wakanda thing. So peace, people.